Clark. Hey y'all, it's me, Kimberly Clark, and welcome to the video that I said I was not gonna film, my Antihaul! Pride Edition. Oh yeah, the gay, straight, or bi, lesbian, transgender life, I'm on the right track, and this is what I'm not gonna buy. It's Pride season, y'all! And that means that us queers get a whole month of feeling like we're actual real people with rights, despite the fact that it's still totally legal to fire us just because we're gay in 26 states. Yeah, so we've still got a lot of work to do. But let's not forget how far we've come. Look at me! I'm a drag queen with a mustache leading an online anti-consumerist revolution! But in celebrating what we have, it's important to know where we came from and who, despite being shunned by their own community, fought for everyone's right to be free. 2019 marks the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Riots of 1969, which are widely regarded as the events that sparked the beginning of the modern LGBTQ+ rights movement. But despite what Hollywood has told us in the past, our liberation was not led by white cis gay men. The real heroes of the early days were trans and non-binary people of color like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, many of whom were also sex workers. That's right, the corporate-sponsored, rainbow-clad, will-and-gracified, whitewashed version of gay pride that the mainstream media focuses on today only exists because black and brown trans women who worked the piers were sick and tired of being systematically evicted, ignored, and murdered for who they were, and fought back. To this day, black and brown trans women and femmes are some of the most marginalized people in our society and are generally still overlooked by the mainstream gay rights movement. Already in this year, 2019, 10 black trans women have been murdered in the US, which doesn't include the trans women that died while incarcerated in our prisons and detained at our borders. Now, I could make an entire video about racism, transphobia, xenophobia, and discrimination against sex workers within the gay community, but instead I think I'll tackle a topic that is not only specifically relevant to this channel, but is also what's lurking behind a lot of these prejudices. The big gay brother that is And just because so many of you asked so nicely, I decided to do it in your favorite format, an anti-consumerist list of shit I'm not gonna buy. So without further ado, let's jump into this very gay, very poignant anti-haul. Category is mass-produced rainbow crap. Don't get me wrong, if you support LGBTQ+ rights, it's important to identify yourself. I talk about this as an important action step in my video on white privilege, which, if you haven't watched, please go watch it. Hell, even if you have watch it again! As a queer person, when I see a rainbow flag in a space, I feel better. It tells me that it's a safe space. And when I see a rainbow flag on another person, I feel seen and supported, and generally less alone. But if you're gonna spend some dough on rainbows, you should at least think about who that dough is going to. Just because Target has a handful of LGBTQ+ employees doesn't mean that those employees are profiting from the sale of merchandise like this. It's not like Drake T gets commission when you buy this oddly rustic mom and me photo frame. And yes, it's great that Target is sharing stories of its queer employees for Pride Month, but May was National Pet Month, and Target is still sharing stories of, you guessed it, pets, right alongside the gays. Like Bugs, the sleep-deprived cat. What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Meow. Bottom line is that when you give money to large corporations, it's not going to queer people. I wish there was a word for when a corporation uses the identity of people to make money, but then doesn't give any of that money to those people. Oh, there is. Exploitation. If you think that Drake T and queer people like him are the ones raking it in from the sales of this rainbow-striped, adult, gender-inclusive jumper, then think again, because Target is run by this guy. But hold the homophone. Target is donating $100,000 to GLSEN, the Gay Lesbian Straight Educators Network, an organization that does great work spreading LGBTQ plus awareness in schools across the country. But if you think 100 grand is a lot of money, then oh honey, wait for category 3. Instead of buying your Pride merch or perch from a giant corporate monster that exploits its employees while fat cats like Brian Cornell get richer, why not just support a small queer-owned business? This way, you're not just representing your queerness or allyship, which is awesome. You're also giving actual queer people money. I'll link a BuzzFeed article down below of some queer-owned businesses to support. And hey, if you're watching this video and it's no longer Pride Month, go ahead and support them anyway. Just because you're not currently seeing Instagram ads for rainbow shower curtain looks doesn't mean that you can't support queer-owned businesses all year round. I don't stop being queer on July 1st, and the most marginalized members of our community don't just disappear because Walmart stops advertising this rainbow flag dress, which was probably made by slaves. Oh, so aerodynamic and morally bankrupt. Listen, go ahead and rock those rainbows. Just make sure you're getting them from an ethical queer-owned business. If you support gay rights but don't have a problem with forced labor, then you've got a lot of waking up to do. Stay tuned for my video series, How to Stop Shopping in 5 Easy Steps, for more on this important topic. Until then, new, now, next! Second category is the legendary charity tie-in. This next set of items kick it up a notch. These aren't just products that rep the rainbow or are repped by the gays. These products actually give back. Whether they've existed for a while and just haven't been selling well, or were created specifically for Pride, the major selling point of the charity tie-in products are that a portion of the proceeds are donated to a queer-friendly charity. In other words, it may still be crap you don't need, but instead of making up your own excuses for buying it, you could justify your bad decision by chalking it all up to a good cause. Now you can satisfy your makeup addiction and buy that eyeshadow palette that you already have 7 dupes for. And, in the process, donate 0.3 cents to a charity you've never heard of, but are pretty sure helps the gays. Hashtag worth it. Don't get me wrong, I have no beef with incredible charities like GLSEN or the Trevor Project raising money through multiple sources. And in fact, corporate donations are what help many nonprofits stay afloat. But why do these companies need you to buy something in order for them to give money to a charity? Why don't these companies just make a donation without roping you into a purchase? Oh, I know why. Because capitalism. If part of the proceeds go to a charity, where do you think the other part goes? That's right, to the company selling the products. But wait. What if a company is donating all of the proceeds of their perch to queer-friendly charities? If they're not directly profiting off of a product, then we good, right? Well, even if they're not making any hard cash from the sale of specific items, by attaching themselves to the movement of the month, in this case, Pride, a company stands to gain some major image boosting. Not only does a relatively cheap stunt like this get some actual press, like being added to listicles of companies that actually give back, bless them, it cements in the consumer's mind that this brand is synonymous with charity. And that boost affects the entire brand, not just the sale of products that actually go to a good cause. In a sense, a charity tie-in product is just a gateway drug to more spending. I couldn't invent a more quintessential example of this than the rainbow shopping bag from IKEA. Yes, 100% of the proceeds of its sale go to the Human Rights Campaign, which is great, but the IKEA shopping bag exists only to be filled with other products. And because the rainbow shopping bag is the only product that IKEA is selling that's actually supporting a queer organization, nothing you could possibly fill it with is giving any coin to queer people in need. So while most of the $3.99 purchase price of this hideous rainbow glam sack does go to HRC, the gays ain't seeing nothing from any anal in air, nerdsome, or dift that you fill it with. Look, even if said Pride merchandise is not a plastic carrier of hemorrhoids, It still probably serves as a vehicle to get you to buy more product. When was the last time you bought just one thing from Sephora.com? Companies hawking philanthropic products right alongside their regular line know that even though you came to support a charity, you're gonna leave with 10 sale items you didn't want and a fanny pack. Oh, Marc Jacobs supports the gays. I can't wait to buy his new line of hair extensions. So why not cut out the corporate middleman and give to these charities directly? If you like the Trevor Project, and you should, it's a great organization that's combating the ongoing epidemic of suicide in the LGBTQ plus community. Instead of buying one of the multiple eyeshadow palettes whose proceeds benefit it that you don't need, why not donate to the organization directly? And hey, if Tarte or Morphe or Jessie or Batty or Kimberly Clark were the ones that turned you on to this incredible organization, give them a shout out when you make the donation. But make no mistake, when a company makes you buy something in order to support a charity, that company is probably benefiting as much, if not more, than the charity that they're throwing some coin to. Which brings us to category 3. Undeserved praise realness! Okay, at this point you might be like, fuck you, Kim! This may be the only time of year that corporations care about gay people, but that's gotta count for something! And some of these companies aren't even making you buy anything! They're just making a huge donation! And who cares if it's all just a publicity stunt? These companies are giving a lot of money to groups that desperately need it! You, of all people, should understand that! And to that I say, wow, that's a lot of aggression. And the money these companies donate might seem like a lot of money to you, and it might be a lot of money for that charity. But in the grand scheme of things, these donations hardly make a dent in the company's bottom line. Look at Starbucks. For years now, Starbucks has partnered with Lady Gaga's Born This Way Foundation, not to be confused with Two-Face Born This Way Foundation. Yes, Gaga! Nah, Gerard! Gaga's BTW Foundation helps spread awareness of the effects of bullying and harassment and supports other organizations that conduct mental health awareness workshops in schools. In years past, Starbucks was indeed guilty of the dreaded charity tie-in, pushing Pepto Pink cups of kindness while donating a meager 25 cents per putrid pour while picking a peck of pickled peppers. Shout out to Hannah Gadsby. But this year, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I can at least get behind their approach. Starbucks is matching every donation to Gaga's charity made online. This means that for every dollar you give directly to the BTW Foundation, Starbucks gives $1. And yes, compared to the strategy that I mentioned earlier, buy this, it's for a good cause, aren't we great? Buy more! Matching donations means that 100% of the money that you spend actually goes to a good cause. So if you're like me and you prefer to not actually drink a grande, skinny, pumpkin spice, flat, white, tears latte, you could still take advantage of that MER money going directly to Gaga's good cause. No purchase necessary. But here's the catch. Starbucks is only matching donations up to $250,000, which is less money than they've committed to the BTW Foundation in the past. BTW. Again, 250 grand seems like a lot of dough, but let's put that into perspective. In 2018, Starbucks reported earnings were $4.52 billion. $250,000 is less than 0.006% of that. It's like if you have $1,000 in your bank account right now, and if you do, oh my God, good for you. And you donate 6 cents of it to the Born This Way Foundation, you, as an individual, would be donating at the same rate as Starbucks, a multi-billion-dollar international corporation. It's like if you spend $100 a day on food and donate half a cent to charity. That's like 1% of your morning latte. Or coffee-inspired drink. An ombre pink drink, perhaps. But that's not even a fair comparison. You get a tax write-off, and so does Starbucks. But because our country gives more tax breaks to the super rich and corporations than literally everyone else, that $250,000 that Starbucks gives counts for way more than any amount you could give individually. That, combined with the aforementioned brand boost of affiliating itself with a good cause, means that Starbucks gets way more credit for giving an amount that's the equivalent of you throwing some change into a coffee cup, no matter who signed it. But even if I convince you that $250,000 is just not that much for a giant corporation like Starbucks, don't they deserve at least some praise for their support, however minuscule, of an LGBTQ plus cause? Well, meet Maddie Wade. She's a trans barista who is suing Starbucks for damages after she resigned due to workplace harassment. When Wade came out as trans at work, her then manager refused to use her preferred pronouns, even though the rest of the staff were happy to do so. And it's not like this guy was just slow on the uptake either. He was purposefully misgendering Wade, calling her things like dude and bro in front of customers and coworkers alike, despite her requesting him not to. Side note, if you're hearing this and are confused about why pronouns are important, please go check out ContraPoint's video on pronouns. I love you, Natalie. Wade's manager's harassment of her in the workplace was accompanied by him posting disgusting things on social media, coinciding with her coming out as trans, that were clearly transphobic. She ultimately resigned to save herself from further mental and emotional abuse. Starbucks, however, refused to take any action against Wade's harasser, who is still employed. Starbucks argues that refusing to call her by her preferred pronoun is not enough to constitute a violation of their workplace guidelines in this particular case, and has mounted a huge legal battle against her. Just a few days ago, a judge ruled against Wade, potentially setting a dangerous precedent for trans workers defending themselves against harassment. Not only have Starbucks' actions harmed a trans employee, they may have far-reaching legal repercussions for the trans community at large. Not quite on the right track, baby. But really, how is any of this surprising? This is the company that thought it could solve racism in an afternoon. Beyond that, Starbucks is notorious for destroying thousands of small businesses around the world. Instead of charity, that weird smirking mermaid should signal corporate greed. It's literally an icon of gentrification. Ask anyone who's lived in an urban up-and-coming neighborhood. One day, you've got your local family-owned business just chugging along, and the next, that damn mermaid is taken over, and your favorite bodega is no more. Before you know it, any character your neighborhood was clinging to is nowhere to be found. Locals are replaced by Airbnb guests, and your rent has doubled. And that's my point. Corporations don't care about people. Any people. In any month. They just leech on to whatever cause is trending and exploit whoever is willing to let them. And they know that their relatively minor acts of philanthropy not only cover up their past and current moral indiscretions, but allow them to turn a tidy profit, all without breaking a sweat. Unlike me, right now in this wig. Oh my God, it's 90 degrees here. Woo! Judges, your scores. 0, -10. No! That looks like a cat holding a mermaid skeleton logo. To review. Number 1, corporations. You just can't trust them, no matter what charities they support, period. 2, don't let companies trick you into buying more things that you don't need with singular product charity tie-ins. If you want to support a charity, just donate to the charity directly. I'm linking all of the charities I've mentioned and more down in the description box below. And number 3, stick to small queer-owned businesses when getting your rainbow on. And not just during Pride. Support small businesses all year round. Which finally brings me to the reason that you probably clicked on this video. Jaclyn Hill. Jaclyn Hill's new cosmetic company, Jaclyn Cosmetics, is not a corporation. In fact, Jaclyn Hill's technically a small business, albeit not a queer-owned small business. As far as I know, I don't think she is. As you may have heard, her recent brand launch was less than perfect. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pile on more critique, adding insult to injury, but since we both know that you're not going to buy any of it, I'd be happy to tell you where to spend that money you'll be saving. Like I said at the beginning of this video, Pride as we know it began with trans women of color like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. But today, most of the movement and many of the charities associated with it are just leaving those folks behind. The Sylvia Rivera Law Project is an incredible organization that supports trans and non-binary people of color through legal aid and social services. A direct donation to this organization helps the most marginalized members of our community at a time when most of the world considers them disposable. So instead of buying some fuzzy lipstick, why not consider supporting this important cause? A donation of $15 or less than the price of one So Rich lipstick will help buy Metro cards and snacks for people that attend a legal clinic or a movement organizing meeting. A donation of $50 or $1 more than a lipstick trio will cover the cost of a client's legal name change. A donation of $100 or a little bit more than the cost of 2 lipstick trios will pay for a client's green card application. And a donation of $250 or less than the price of the entire So Rich lipstick collection will cover the costs of a visit to a trans person in prison in order to provide legal services and community support. In all seriousness, if any part of this video has made you allergic to corporate pride and saved you some money, consider paying it forward to the Sylvia Rivera Law Project. All the info you need is in the description box down below. And while you're at it, follow them on Instagram. And if you're in NYC, attend one of their events. Look, I really wasn't planning on filming this video, but pride has always been an important part of my life. And when I see my community exploited for corporate gain, I gotta do something. I started marching in the New York City Heritage of Pride Parade when I was 16 with PFLAG, or Parents, Friends, and Families of Lesbians and Gays. And it was always a transformative experience that I looked forward to all year long. And I fully accept that part of that wonder and spectacle and scale just wouldn't be possible without the corporations that underwrite the event. But then I think about the other Pride events that I've discovered more recently, like the Dyke March, or the Drag March, or the Trans Day of Action. What if I had been attending these events when I was 16? Sure, they wouldn't have given me the same truly wondrous experience of walking down Fifth Avenue to be greeted by thousands of grateful, screaming onlookers. But what would they have given me? Maybe a more honest sense of who our community is and who the real mothers of the movement were. Maybe an even more pressing drive to fight injustices that I've only recently become aware of but have always existed. Or maybe they just would have sparked my sense of cynicism a little sooner and saved me some time and some money spent chasing the corporate-sponsored lie that happiness can be bought. I'm Kimberly Clark and my eyelashes are falling off. Thank you so much for watching. Check the description box below for links to any articles referenced or organizations to donate to that I mentioned in this video. And please stay tuned for my series, How to Stop Shopping in 5 Easy Steps, for more practical ways to curb your spending and to help combat the plague of consumerism that is destroying our society. And let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What's your favorite alternative to corporate pride? How do you combat consumerism in your life? We want to know! If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring-a-ding that bell. I don't think I've ever said that. Have I ever said that? You can ring my bell. Ring my bell. Thank you to everyone that supports me on Patreon, and a special thanks to Nathan and Jess for consulting on this video. And here's to everyone having a happy, healthy pride, free from the grip of corporate greed. I'm Kimberly Clark. Bye! Oh, we're the gay straight. Bye!